About 4 years after the first time we reported our first story on the plan to make a Nissan Patrol Warrior, I've got it here sitting next to me, and in today's video we're going to drive this beast of a four-wheel drive for the very first time. Off-road, on-road, we're going to listen to its crazy bimodal exhaust, and we're going to check out some of the things that this product doesn't get quite right, and spoiler alert, that's going to start on the interior. But just like the Nissan Navara Warrior Ute, the Patrol Warrior is designed to be a trail-capable specification that you can buy in the dealership with a full factory warranty, drive off the showroom floor, and hit some pretty advanced trails without having to do common modifications yourself. That's Nissan's pitch. How much is it going to cost? Well, we don't know yet, but it is based on the Patrol TI specification, the base Patrol, rather than the TIL. So that might give us a bit of an indication. I'll let you know about the spec of the car. We're going to start inside, so let's crack on now. Hit subscribe down below. Chasing cars, honest reviews of your next car. Brought to you by Budget Direct. Interestingly, the Y62 Patrol has had a massive resurgence in popularity, even quite late in its life, because we do expect it to be replaced within the next couple of years. Last year, over 5,000 Australians bought a new Patrol, which is a record for all time for Patrol sales here in Australia. And that's despite the fact that this car is really getting on in years, and nowhere can you tell that more than here in the cabin. Completely putting aside how good this vehicle is to drive off-road with Prem Car's modifications, extensive mods to this car's suspension, and all the rest, the interior, I think, is really pushing it with customers at this point. It's 2023, halfway through the year in fact, and we're still looking at an interior which is closer to 20 years old than 10, I think. At least that's certainly the way it looks from in here. So basically, we've got this very slabby center area here. We've got loads of buttons. We've got a very small 8-inch touchscreen with no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It does have integrated navigation. Bluetooth music and Bluetooth phone calls work fine, and the stereo in this car is okay. But because the Warrior is based on the TI spec rather than the TIL, you actually don't get all that many creature comforts in here. So no Bose stereo, for instance, no heated seats, no cooled seats, no sunroof, but the big lazy boy chairs are sort of comfortable, but they do heat up a bit. They're black leather, that's all you can get. And because there's no cooling, when it starts to get a bit hotter outside, that's a bit of an annoyance. I think it's even the VX version of the Land Cruiser still gets ventilated seats, but the Toyota is a much more expensive car than the Patrol. We don't know what the Warrior will cost yet, but you know, it's not going to be super far out from what the current range costs, I don't think. Looking forward, whoa, it's retro. We've got massive analog gauges, which is fine, and then like a Casio calculator sort of little screen with no digital speedo or no head-up display. Massive tiller. You got your quick control buttons, no paddles for the 7-speed, but you can still tiptronically shift it down here. You got your low range control, a few drive modes, diff locker, downhill assist down here in this sort of dial. And that brings me on to probably the biggest cosmetic change of the interior for the Warrior, and that's the deletion of this car's wood grain. In normal TI and TL spec, you jump into the Patrol, it's a bit like getting into an Emirates A380. It's like, bright wood everywhere. You know me, if you're a subscriber, you know I do like a bit of wood in a car, but even for me, the Patrol is overboard. All the wood has been turned into black, like piano black down here. It's not so bad on the fingerprints, not the worst I've seen. We'll have to see how that fares in terms of durability. But then up on the dash, the sort of wraparound pieces on the dash and doors, they're actually Alcantara with Warrior branding, and that actually looks pretty nice. Plus, even though it's really old in terms of styling in here, the build quality is phenomenal in the Patrol. These cars are screwed together extremely well, plenty of storage, and the one thing I will say is I've seen a number of people do significant modifications to the tech here in terms of putting a massive vertical screen in. I see no reason why that wouldn't work as a mod in the Warrior in order to bring it a little bit more up to date. But of course, it's worth mentioning that more expensive rivals like the Land Cruiser and cheaper rivals like the Ford Everest have much more up-to-date cabins now. The Patrol is a massive car, and the Warrior is bigger in every dimension, but of course that's all outside. The interior space is the same as a regular Patrol, but you can see that for myself here in the second row, headroom's fantastic, legroom is limousine-like, tow room no problem, and you will get a person in the 5th seat here. The second row's got air vents and a separate climate zone plus USB ports, and you've got another 3 seats there in the 3rd row, which really makes this a versatile vehicle. So because the Patrol has bigger tires and a lift in the suspension, it's 50 millimeters higher than the standard car. It was already massive and tall before. It's now even bigger. I'm 6 feet tall and you can see the vehicle towers over me. So if you've got a very low garage, you're gonna need to check that before signing on the dotted line for the Warrior. Now, how can you tell it apart at the back? Well, actually the rear bar down here is different. You've got 2 recovery points, completely different tow bar. That's one of the bigger expenses that's actually gone into this project. It's there so that the full 34.4 inch tire, spare tire, can be accommodated underneath without being burst by the factory tow bar setup, which is quite interesting. You've got a Warrior badge down here in matte black, but they haven't actually deleted all of the chrome on this car. It does have an extended black pack, but still chrome along here above the LED tail lights and still chrome around the window surround too. Now, because the Warrior is based on the TI, a bit crazily in my opinion, it doesn't have a power rear door. This is a massive tailgate. It is easy to open, of course. Closing it's a bit of a different story, but the boot is huge, easy to deploy and drop that third row. This is an 8-seater, very, very flexible. Under here, you've got a bit of extra storage as well, 12-volt cup holders for your third row, but when it comes to closing the tailgate, it needs a good old pull, and then it does actually have a little system to latch itself, like a soft close system, but of course a full power door is really what we would normally expect at this kind of positioning. So, for the driving of the Patrol Warrior, I'm going to start off-road, and we're here at Mount Cotton, where we've got a really tidy little off-roading course to demonstrate some of the capabilities of the vehicle, and it is an honest course. And I'll drive on-road shortly, where I'll talk more about the engine and how all of the adaptations to the Warrior suits the black top, which of course is going to be where this vehicle does spend a lot of its time, whether that be touring or commuting, because interestingly, the vast majority of patrol buyers live in town, actually, not in the country. So this thing's got to be good on-road. But first of all, let's start with the environment where the Patrol Warrior has been designed to perform. So we've got a rutted track here full of a bunch of wombat holes. There's a little bit of mud, some steep ascents, some steep descents, a bit of everything really. The sort of moderate to difficult trail you're going to find when you go camping, which is what this vehicle is really all about. So what has Premcar done? Well, they've taken the pretty solid foundations of the Y62 Patrol and they've enhanced the bandwidth of its capability, at least. That's the marketing line. And that's sort of how it did work out with the Navara Warrior. That vehicle's pretty slow, but it rides well and its off-roading capability is really excellent. Now this Patrol is, by contrast, definitely not slow, but its off-roading bandwidth has been further enhanced. So that starts with a lift. It's got more ground clearance. The goal was to avoid it scraping its belly in places the stock Y62 does. So 50mm lift, considerable. It's still not massive, but basically they didn't want this vehicle to be any higher than 2000 mils to avoid scraping the roof in car parks, and that's why the Warrior is based on the TI spec more than anything else, because the TIL only rolls out of the factory with roof rails, and they really didn't want that for the Warrior because it just would have been too high. So we've got that lift, we've got 34.4 inch tires, Yokohama Geolander, and that's actually a different choice to the Navara Warrior, which got Coopers. Coopers were tested for the Patrol, but they came up second best as sort of a compromise tyre for both on and off-road use to these Yokohamas. And to be honest, with the stuff we've been doing today, haven't had any issues with the tyres. Naturally, if you pick one of these things up and you want to change the tyre, that's going to be relatively simple. 295/70 R18 is the tyre size, so a big fat tyre, huge sidewall, heaps of insulation through the tyre, and Premcar have actually designed a unique 18-inch alloy for this vehicle, which is quite different to the wheels on either the Patrol TI or the TIL. Personally, don't love the wheel design, but design is very, very subjective, and so I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't like, but you can always spar with me down below in the comments. So that's the wheel tyre package. The real magic starts with what Premcar have done to the suspension, and that's exactly the way it was with the Navara Warrior 2, except that the suspension on the Patrol is way more complicated than Navara's suspension. So instead of a traditional suspension setup, instead of traditional anti-roll bars, Patrol enthusiasts will know that this vehicle actually runs with a hydraulic suspension system, or hydraulic damping, called hydraulic body motion control, HBMC. And what Premcar has done is they've actually been able to adapt the HBMC in a bunch of ways. So first of all, it starts with spring rates outside of the hydraulic system. We've got a softer spring rate on the front, softer than the TI, so you're getting a little bit more compliance from the front end, but it's really the rear springs where they've done something particularly interesting. It's actually a triple rate spring. We hear quite a lot about dual rate, particularly with adaptations for off-road, and the Navara has a dual rate rear spring, but the Patrol has a triple rate. Reason being, we've got a normal rate, which is relatively soft. We've got a mid rate for towing, and the Warrior retains the 3.5 ton towing capacity of a regular Patrol. But then we actually have a super soft rate, and that's so that the spring remains captive at maximum articulation. And actually the stock Patrol springs were slipping out at maximum articulation on the Warrior, so that had to be changed. Then Premcar goes into the hydraulic system, and they've actually got a completely unique mid-spring, mid-damper piece, which is manufactured by Premcar, and it has its own componentry, and is basically designed to give this car additional bandwidth in terms of its articulation beyond the Patrol, which is already pretty good. And of course the Patrol doesn't have anti-roll bars, it just runs with the hydraulic system instead, and that gives you pretty decent handling on road for something which is approximately the size of an apartment block. You've got the fender flare extensions and stuff like that, and you've got the bimodal exhaust, which we're about to go and have a listen to. But as someone pointed out in the comments to my walk around of this vehicle, that is a bit of a crush risk where it's located under the side step. So that was off-road, very competent. Some people have taken their Patrols further than the Warrior, but as a solution you can buy in the dealership, drive off the showroom floor and hit a trail like we just did with easy convenience. I mean, it's not bad. And of course, a bunch of other Patrol upsides are baked into this vehicle, such as that one. So unlike the Land Cruiser, the Patrol still runs with a V8, and it's a petrol engine, not a diesel. 5.6 litres in capacity, so it ain't small. Power is 298 kilowatts, torque 560 Newton meters. Now, I know a lot of people wanted to see a supercharger in the Patrol Warrior. That hasn't happened, and the reason for that is that Premcar are telling us is that the fuel economy deficit for the additional performance wasn't really worth it in their eyes. Plus, the Patrol Warrior's fuel economy is close enough to the standard Patrol that it can keep that car's like certification and compliance in terms of fuel consumption. So the fuel consumption is still very high, but it would have been even higher if they'd gone for a supercharger. So I know there's a lot of passion out there around blowing Patrols. This one isn't one of them, but the performance of the 5.6 is still very, very tidy. So the standard cars will run a little slower than 7 seconds, 0 to 100. So I'd be surprised if the Patrol Warrior was far behind 7.5. It is obviously on that aggressive tire, but still a very, very snappy car in terms of performance. And that's down to things like throttle calibration, and the 7-speed automatic shifts reasonably quickly. So in terms of pulling onto a highway, overtaking on a country road, the Patrol has heaps of performance. It's a bit quicker than a V6 Land Cruiser 300 for sure. And while they haven't changed the engine or the torque converter automatic transmission per se, there has been a pretty significant change to another component of the powertrain, and that's the exhaust. So it's a bimodal exhaust, and it's designed to keep the Patrol nice and quiet and refined on the highway, or when you're just pootling around town and using the ample torque of the 5.6 litre engine. So because it's got so much torque, you can actually accelerate reasonably promptly while keeping the engine under 3,000 RPM. And it's somewhere between that sort of 3,000 to 3,500 point of engine speed where you get the valves opening and you get that sort of noise. Now, it's loud in the cabin, it's even louder outside, and it's got a fascinating setup because we've got a twin exhaust on the side, which is a bit G-Wagon of them, isn't it? But it still retains the single exhaust at the rear. So it's a full bypass of the side exit at low RPMs, and then as the engine speed builds, it stops coming out the back and comes out the side instead, which is pretty cool. Now, what about the on-road handling? Well, it's kind of a tale of two different components here, because actually the standard Patrol is remarkably decent when you try and hustle it on a country road. For something this size and this weight, the Patrol actually handles okay. And the Warrior retains a lot of that capability, but the tyres, which are more off-road biased than the standard Patrol, can't really cash the checks that the suspension and the body are writing with the Warrior. So when you pitch it into a corner, you get delay, and then see the correction I've got to put through the steering. The rear end comes around quite quickly, and stability control is often nowhere to be seen. Now, obviously that makes for quite a fun dynamic, but I think that a lot of patience is going to be required on road, especially when it's wet or greasy. We've got a stunning Queensland day today, dry as a bone, 24 degrees on a perfect road surface, and you can certainly make the Patrol Warrior boogie in terms of handling, and it's absolutely hilarious. But I'll need to test this car in the rain before we really know kind of how these tyres stand up to being driven on road. That being said, Premcar absolutely stands behind the product, and they chose these tyres to be the right compromise between off-road and on-road. But certainly when you pick up the pace and you can like really manipulate the attitude of the car, even at, I'm only doing 60 literally, it's you know, it's interesting for sure. But of course, if you want superior on-road grip, you'd go for a different tyre, or you'd be driving a Patrol TIL rather than the Warrior. Still, the body actually sits remarkably flat. It's quiet, it's refined, there's not a lot of tyre noise, but it's also very difficult to ignore the fact that the product itself is really dated. So in terms of safety, you don't have things like lane keep. You do have adaptive cruise control and blind spot monitoring though, which is at least something, isn't it? So those are my first impressions, very first impressions of the new Nissan Patrol Warrior. On the surface, it looks like this vehicle is going to succeed in what it's designed to do, which is to give you a factory-backed Patrol, which is more capable than the standard car without you having to do your own modifications and take on the liability around those mods. But of course, some people take their Patrols a lot further than the Warrior. So my question for you is, has Nissan and Premcar done enough with the Patrol Warrior project, or were there things left off that you would have liked to have seen? Let me know down below in the comments. Tell me if you're going to be ordering one of these. Tell me if it's not for you. While you're there, hit subscribe and the notification bell, because we will have a much more in-depth first drive of the Patrol Warrior on public roads and public tracks coming later in 2023, probably around that October mark. So subscribe for that. As always, thanks for watching Chasing Cars.